Well, Miami was another story of arrest and madness and chaos. Hot Tennessee Williams night, southern night in a swampy kind of place, a seaplane hangar close to the ocean with sort of swampy, 15,000 people packed into a place that held comfortably 8 to 9, just jammed in heat and strange vibrations. And it's our first gig in Florida. They knew Jim was from Florida. Florida's a place that harbors swamps, snakes, reptiles, and Jim was people called him what, the Lizard King. The Doors were called the Kings of Acid Rock. They had come to Florida. People didn't know what to expect. But the subconscious, the snakes of the subconscious coming out, images coming out of the subconscious. So Jim was going to do his version of the Living Theater. There was a theater group that was going around the country doing plays and confrontations with audiences. They were very big, very popular, avant-garde sort of stuff, saying, I am not allowed to travel without a passport. They're freedom. They had one called Freedom Now. I am not allowed to take my clothes off in public at the beach. I can't go to the beach and take my clothes off. And people would start taking their clothes off. And they'd be walking up and down the audience naked, and people are freaking out. Rock music is playing. There's all kinds of dialogue, and there's young, gorgeous, beautiful people, young people naked in the audience, walking up and down, playing all around. And Jim thought, and he saw that at UCLA, or at USC in Los Angeles, and he saw 6 performances. They did 6. He saw all 6. He was going to do his version in Miami, in Florida, where he was born. He said to them, what did you come for? First of all, he said to them, you're all a bunch of slaves. You let them push you around. You do anything. You'll do anything they tell you. Why don't you stand up and be free? Why don't you come out to California and sing and dance in the sun? Come on out for the summer. Come on, let's love. Let's make love. I'm talking about love, love, love. And the audience is kind of weird. It's kind of, that's not the message they want to hear out of the Lizard King. They didn't come to hear some preacher of love, for God's sake, and freedom. They wanted freak out. Then Jim looks at him and says, well, what am I supposed to do up here, I mean, come on, you're not with the program. What do you want from me? We're just a pretty good rock and roll band, We play some hits. You want something greater than you've ever seen before. I got it. How about if I show you and insert C word here, meaning male organ. How about if I show you my... And they all went, yeah, whoa. Guys are going, no. Girls are going, yeah, sure. Is that what you want? You want to see my, C word? And that's what he did. He took his shirt off, held it in front of him, stripped to the waist, and started doing this bullfighter cape routine, like going, watch, I'm going to show it to you, I'm going to show it to you. And he held it, and he kind of fumbled around behind his shirt, and I'm thinking, what is he doing, man? We had no idea. John and Robbie and I had no idea. My God, he is. Is he going to take his pants off, or is he going to pull it out? And then he fumbles around. He said, now watch. And he's holding it in front of him. He goes, watch this. Did you see it? I showed it to you, because the audience is way over there. Did you see it? Well, come on a little closer. Audience is coming close on this temporary stage, rickety stage, just on, a little scaffolding stage. Jim is doing this number. The stage starts to people are climbing on stage. The stage starts to tilt. Cops come on stage. Jim gets thrown off the stage. First of all, he throws a cop's hat into the audience, and a cop pushes him into the audience, flies into the audience. We're still playing. Then they do, oh my God, he's going to hit the floor. The people catch him, lower him down, and he starts doing a snake dance there. He's kind of going around like the audience, and the people are following him in a conga line, and we're playing the music. He goes to the stairs, up the stairs, into the dressing room, waves to the people, and that's the end of the evening. It was like fantastic, you know? And I'm playing, and John and Robbie are just playing the riot. There's sort of a semi-riot going on, and I'm smashing on the keys and everything. Nothing happens at the gig. Jim Morrison is not arrested. 3, 4, 5 days later.
President of the Greater Miami Crime Commission, I'm calling upon the Dade County Grand Jury and the State Attorney's Office to immediately take criminal action against those that were responsible for the deplorable condition and situation that occurred at the Dade County Auditorium this past weekend, when the group known as the Doors, the rock and roll group, attempted to precipitate a riot. This situation is a blot upon our community and those that are responsible for profiting as a result of depravity and immorality as occurred here, and where you have children from 9 to 14 years of age being subjected to such obscenities. Certainly immediate action is demanded, and we are demanding that action this day.
We have taken out 2 warrants for Jim Morrison. One of them is for indecent exposure. The other is for the use of obscene languages during his performance at Dinner Key Saturday night. We have been delayed on issuing these warrants because we had to wait until we were able to get a copy of recordings that were taken by public-minded people who attended this performance. And also, we were waiting, hoping to get pictures that were taken during the performance.
I think that nudity it's really a cyclical phenomenon. I think it comes, it gets very liberal and extreme, then it goes back, reacts the other way, and it just seems to be a cycle in entertainment.
In other words, you feel that the same liberalism performed in the theater, acting, should be also generated in music.
Well, in the realm of art and theater, I do think that there should be complete freedom for the artist and performer. I'm not personally that convinced that nudity is always, a necessary part of, a play or film, but the artist should feel free to use it if he feels.
You know what Robbie's trying to do with that sound?
Yeah, I know that.
Hey, Ray, look, we gotta look at each other.
That's the stupidest ending I've ever heard on any song.
What's stupid? The ending?
Yeah, and then
that's not the top.
This cuts off. And the only thing you hear is just the fade away of the sound.
Of the song.
Yeah, first chorus.
I'd love to.
Eric, can everybody play? Can we get to hear it, what it sounds like out here?
Hey, let's cut. Well, let's make a record.
Yeah, let's do it this time. Let's try that. Then there are 6.
How's that again?
Robbie does 2, John 1, Doug 1, I do 2, and then you come.
All right.
That sounds good, Robbie. Here we go. One time, everybody, please.
it rains and the trees in the night.
With hunger at her heels, freedom in her eyes, she dances on her knees, pirate prince at her side, stirring into the hollow idol's eyes. Wild child, full of grace, savior of the human race, up to face, up to face, up to face. You remember when we were in Africa?
I sort of felt was a big reason why the Doors made it so big at the beginning. I mean, aside from the fact that you were all very good. I mean, you know, the if publicity has anything to do with it, it was that. And then after a while, that seemed to have changed. And I generally read put-downs of the Doors now. Why?
That's where I think we're the band you love to hate. So it's been that way from the beginning. You know, we're universally despised. I kind of relish the whole situation. I think it's that we're on a monstrous ego trip, and people resent it. You know, they hate us because we're so good.
Does it bother you at all when you read put-downs?
Yeah, it does. I wish they wouldn't do it. But freedom of the press and all that, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the Doors.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, now touch me, babe. Can't you see that I am not afraid? What was that promise that you made? Why won't you tell me what she said? What was that promise that you made? I'm gonna love you till the heaven stops the rain. I'm gonna love you till the stars fall from the sky for you and I. Yeah! Touch me, babe. Can't you see that I am not afraid? What was that promise that you made? Why won't you tell me what she said? What was that promise that you made? I'm gonna love you till the heaven stops the rain. I'm gonna love you till the stars fall from the sky for you and I. I'm gonna love you till the heaven stops the rain. I'm gonna love you till the stars
Welcome to part 4 of my Doors album deep dive series. Today I'm talking about their polarizing 4th album, The Soft Parade. This is my cassette version of the album, which has a close-up photograph, and this is the remastered CD version. This album was released on July 18th, 1969. The first recording sessions for the album were held in July of 1968 when the band recorded Wild Child and Wishful Sinful. Recording resumed in November of 1968 at the newly built Electra Sound West Studios at the conclusion of a grueling tour, and once again the band had little time to compose new material. Producer Paul Rothchild suggested the Doors incorporate brass and string arrangements to give the band a fuller sound. Unlike previous albums, Jim Morrison was less involved in the songwriting process, and Robbie Krieger's compositions were given more space than ever before. The album was the most expensive Doors album to date, costing $80,000. For the first time, individual songwriting credits were listed after Morrison wanted to distance himself from the lyrics of Tell All the People. Unfortunately, the Miami incident in March of 1969, a few months before the album was released, kind of cast a dark cloud over this album. Not only did the album not perform as well as it could have, but also the Doors touring schedule was severely curtailed as many venues began canceling Doors shows, and cities did not want to have the troublesome Doors in their city, in their town, possibly causing havoc. Now, if Doors fans had thought the band had really gotten poppy with the single Hello, I Love You, their minds had to have blown when they put this record on and the full brass explosion of Tell All the People hit them in the face. This is a more commercial album than anything the Doors had put out before. And it's a much more jazzy album than the Doors had ever attempted. And I think a lot of people do not like this album. I always shouldn't say do not like this album. I think a lot of Doors fans rank this album lower than most of the Morrison albums just because it is such a departure from any of their other music. It's more commercial, it's poppier, it's got more brass on here, it's jazzier in spots. And so I understand why this album polarizes a lot of Doors fans. I happen to like it. I don't like it as much. It's probably, honestly, my least favorite of the Morrison albums, but that's not to say I don't like it. I do enjoy listening to this album, mostly because it is so diverse. It's certainly my least favorite of the styles that the Doors would attempt, but I think they execute it fine. I don't think there is a bad song on the album. Certainly there's a couple of weak ones, but as for me, I like the album. It just doesn't happen to be one of my favorites. So anyway, the album opens with Tell All the People, which is a Robbie Krieger composition, and it is a full-on onslaught of brass. There was a version released on Record Store Day a few years back where they stripped away all of the brass accompaniments and all of the adornments. And I like hearing those songs a bit stripped down. I think this arrangement is over the top. I don't particularly care for it. It's kind of a sappy, summer of love, hippy-dippy sort of lyric.
Tell all the people that you see, follow me down. Tell all the people that you see, set them free. Follow me down.
It's all right. Like I say, it's not a terrible track. It's just one of the weaker ones on the album. The next song, Touch Me, was the single off of the album. This was definitely their most commercial single with the jazzy arrangement. Some horns on here, but it's a great Jim Morrison lyric. Again, another Robbie Krieger composition. He had more songs on this album than any Doors album previously, but this is one of his stronger songs. The first Morrison composition on the album, Shaman's Blues, definitely is lyrically in keeping with Jim Morrison and his previous compositions. Also, the arrangement on it is closer to the classic Doors style. I like this song. It tends to get a little rambling, but I don't mind it. I do like the fact that it sounds more familiar.
There will never be another one like you. There will never be another one who can do the things you do. Oh, will you give another chance? Will you try a little try? Please stop and you remember we were together anyway. All right. And if you have a certain evening you can lend to me, I'll give it all right back to you, how it has to be with you. I know your moves and your mind and your mind.
The next song, Do It, is a Morrison-Krieger co-composition. This is more kind of a jam. The lyrics don't really go anywhere. The lyrics are very trite, very insubstantial. And it's sort of the same Krieger guitar lick repeated over and over. I find it a bit redundant. One of the weaker songs here. The last track on side one, Easy Ride, was actually a leftover from the Waiting for the Sun sessions. For a Morrison composition, it's very bouncy, it's very playful. I like the slide guitar from Robbie Krieger on here. It's just odd because it seems very lightweight in the arrangement, but it's a very up-tempo, poppy way to close out side one.
And I know it will be an easy ride, all right. And I know it will be easy ride, okay. The mask that you wore, my fingers would explore. Costume of control, excitement soon unfold. And I know it will be easy ride, yeah. Joy, for vaguely, with your pride, yeah. Like polished stone, I see your eyes, like burning glass, hear you smile, smile, babe.
Side 2 opens with Wild Child, which was one of the first songs recorded for the album, and this is the hardest rocking song. Again, closer to the previous Doors, classic Doors sound. I like the hard edge to not only the lyrics, but also the arrangement itself. Great slide guitar from Robbie Krieger. This is probably my favorite song on the album. The next song, Runnin' Blue, was dedicated and written as a tribute to Otis Redding, who had passed away in 1967, shortly after performing at the Monterey Pop Festival. This is the jazziest song on the album. It has a real R&B flavor, which you would expect for an Otis Redding tribute. I used to hate this song, especially that middle part where Jim Morrison is kind of singing a bit in a southern twang, and it's almost got a hoedown feel. I used to hate that. Now I don't mind it as much. It's not a favorite of mine on the record, but I do appreciate it more now. The next track, Wishful Sinful, was also one of the first ones recorded for the album. It has almost a Baroque pop feel to it. I like the melody. I think the lyrics are great. I think it's one of Robbie Krieger's stronger ballads that he wrote. I really like this song.
Wishful Bristol water covers everything in blue. Cool and water, wishful, sinful. Our love is beautiful to see. I know where I would like to be, right back where I came. Wishful, sinful, wicked blue, water covers you. Wishful, sinful, wicked you can't escape the blue.
And then to close out side 2 and to close out the album, we have the epic title track, The Soft Parade. This one moves through various suites. Some of them sound more dated than others. I really like the ending part of this, where it's like a nice blues workout and it goes on, and Jim Morrison is riffing on his lyrics all over the place.
You cannot petition the Lord with prayer. Can you give me sanctuary? I must find a place to hide, a place for me to hide. Can you find me soft asylum? I can't make it anymore. The man is at the door. Yeah, he bought a little bit. He ate it. All right. Now, this is the best part of the trip. This is the part I really like. Really like it, yeah. All right. Oh, ready. Successful hills are here to stay. Everything must be this way. Gentle street where people play. Welcome to the soft parade. All the lives we sweat and save. Building for a shallow grave. Must be something else we say. So how to defend this place? Everything must be this way. Everything must be this way.
One of the more adventurous Doors songs that they would ever record, but a fine way to close out what is kind of a mediocre album, but one that I do still enjoy. So anyway, let me know what you think of the album. How does it rank in your Doors discography ranking? Hope you're enjoying the series, and take care.